Hey everybody, it's me, Janae. I'm hoping to start this kind of progressive video journal, video diary, whatever you want to call it, on my recovery from my spinal fusion that I just had done. It's been 1 week and I actually feel pretty fantastic. I'm really surprised because I've seen a couple other videos and wasn't as encouraging as I was hoping they'd be. So my goal in doing a little bit of a series here is to really encourage those of you who are contemplating this surgery and answer questions for you. I'm pretty young to have the issues that I've had, 35 years old, and I have two boys who are 4 years old and 9 years old. And I've had degenerative disc disease for, I guess, the last probably several years. I don't know exactly when it started, but I know after I had my second son in 2007, I noticed that I started becoming less active and having more back pain in my lower right side of my back and into my right hip. I kind of put it off and would just take things easy, but it progressively became a problem for my lifestyle over the last 4 years. My youngest son, like I said, is now 4.5, and I've never really had an opportunity to go on any kind of lengthy hike or do real active things like I used to do with my family. I used to go kayaking and backpacking and camping, and we used to like to go into New York City or Philadelphia and walk around for a day or so. And those are things that I just had to give up over the last couple of years. I'm also a photographer, and so doing a wedding for 8 to 10 hours a day on my feet was becoming virtually impossible. By the end of the day, I would be in such severe pain that I would just be in bed for the following day and a half, 2 days, and that was with taking 4 leaves. I never really got hooked on any serious pain medications because I didn't want that part of it. I didn't really want to have to be reliant on that. I wanted to know what I was feeling. And I only took a leave when things were real bad or if I had an activity I had to do, like a wedding. So anyway, here I am, and it's January 3rd, 2012. I decided to have my spinal fusion. This was done after years of going through physical therapy, chiropractic, massage therapy, and injections, as well as the typical pain medicine that is often given. I finally, after going through many orthopedic doctors and general physicians, I went to a neurosurgeon who my grandfather had seen for a similar back issue. And he's very highly regarded in our area. His name is Dr. Mark Lee. And I did have to wait for some time before I was able to even have an appointment with him, but I had waited so long I figured it was worth the wait if it was going to be fixed the right way. I then scheduled my surgery after getting his advice on it. He said that, if it's impacting my life to the point that I can't enjoy my boys and be a mom, that I needed to do something about it. And that's when it really hit me that I've been more of a grandmother than a mom to my kids, especially in the mornings when I wake up. My back would be so painful, and I would just have to tell them to please, be careful because my back hurt. And every day I was saying that, and it got to the point where my little boy would start saying his back hurt. So I just knew it was time, and I was tired of not having an active life with them. So anyway, I wanted to just kind of give a quick overview of my experience so far. I was very nervous about this surgery because the idea of having a spinal fusion, I think for anybody, is just so freaky and scary that I could see why nobody would want to have it. But after meeting with my doctor, he really assured me and said that it wasn't going to be as bad as I was thinking it would be. I'm at one level. It was only one level, and so I was at the L4, L5 level. I had disc degeneration as well as severe spinal stenosis. So the solution was to first go in and do a laminectomy, which is where they take the little wing bone kind of piece off your back. They remove that, and that releases the tension of the nerves in your back there. So apparently it's not an essential piece of your back to keep. So they take that off, and then they go into where the damaged disc is, and they remove that damaged disc, and I barely had anything left in there. So it was kind of a no-brainer that this was the step I had to take. Fortunately for me, the left side of the vertebrae that had been wearing because the disc was gone wasn't worn too badly. He cleaned it up a little bit, but he was able to leave some of the left side of my upper and lower vertebrae at that level. The right side, which is where I was feeling my most pain, was pretty badly damaged. So he did remove most of the bone there. And then what they do is put 2 little screws on each side, so there's 4 screws, and then 2 rods connecting those screws to brace that level. And they insert this little cage. It's like a little, it looks like a little teeny, looks like the shape of a disc, I guess you could say, but much smaller, and it's metal, of course, and it's porous. So they take that laminectomy, or the bone from the laminectomy, they take that and they crush that up, and then they, from what I understand, kind of fill it in around the cage so that there's this support for it to reproduce and regenerate, and thus the fusion. So the fusion process itself takes several months until that level of that upper and lower vertebrae becomes solid bone from where the cage and that crushed bone have been placed together. So right now, it's just a matter of time and taking it easy. I was very concerned about the pain, of course. I was very concerned about being put under anesthesia and having a breathing tube and a catheter and all these other things that they were going to be doing to my body without me knowing about it. But I was at peace when I went in that day. This was last Tuesday. I had it December 27th. The doctors and nurses were so incredibly kind and considerate and sensitive to my anxiety. And they actually gave me like a little bit of something, I forget what it was, right before the surgery to keep me calm. It felt so nice. It was like this dream stuff. I don't know what it was. But I was conscious, and so basically they wheeled me into the operating room. I was able to see the table. It was an interesting table because, of course, I would be laying face down for 2 hours and 15 minutes was the total time of my surgery. And there were these kind of little, like, rolled, I don't know how to explain it, like memory foam rolls that were covered with a vinyl covering. So they were placed closely together but with space in between them, so it was not a solid table. And there was a face piece similar to that of a massage table if you were laying face down. So my face rested in that. I did have some marks across my forehead when I came out from that, but I get that when I get massages, so it was no big deal. And then before I knew it, I was knocked out. They didn't even have me count down or anything like that. So it was kind of good that way because I wasn't anxious in the expectation. I just went to sleep. And when I woke up, I was just all warm with warm blankets, and they had a warm blanket kind of wrapped around my head. I had oxygen in my nose, and the tube was taken out. I did have the catheter. I had my IV, which they did put in before I was put under anesthesia, but I also had a second IV. You can see the little mark here. They inserted that after I was asleep, so I had one here and one here. And also, this was a very interesting and unexpected part of the surgery. My neurosurgeon asked a neurophysiologist to join him during the surgery. And what that person does, they're a doctor, and they actually monitor the central and peripheral nervous system during the surgery to make sure that nothing is damaged or compromised during the whole surgery, which I really felt so assured by. And found out a week before the surgery, I got a letter from this group that is the neurophysiology group saying they would be partaking in my surgery. So that gave me the second level of assurance in knowing that they really were watching everything they could to make sure I was going to be okay. So that was kind of funny too, because when I woke up, I don't know, you can see I'm black and blue here, but it doesn't hurt or anything. I had apparently almost like acupuncture needles placed throughout my body from head to toe after I was put to sleep and put on the table. So on both sides here, this one's not so bad, but I had two here, different places, my chest, my stomach, my thighs, and my feet, and then even on the top of my head. They must have placed these little needles to make sure that everything was functioning the way it needed to. So that was great, and I just felt really confident in my doctor, and I think that's going to be the key for anybody going through this. Make sure that you're going with somebody who is the best of the best, because this is not an operation you want to mess around with. I've seen way too many people having issues after their surgery that they didn't have before, and I guess that's a natural something that can happen, but if you choose a doctor who really knows their stuff, it should not happen. I'm sitting here in a chair a week later. I have virtually no pain in my back, virtually no pain at all, which is just mind-blowing, because prior to the surgery, my pain to sit or to stand or to walk was debilitating. And the incision itself is 4 inches. You know what? I'm going to, I'll do that later. I'll do a separate video and show some pictures of the process over the last week and my incision and some of that stuff in case anybody's interested. It's kind of gross. And I don't always look like this. I haven't worn makeup for a week, so I'm kind of used to it now, and I don't really care anymore because I'm just in recovery mode. Someday I'll get back to normal. But regarding pain, as I was saying, it's just been so phenomenal. I just don't have much pain at all. I am getting a little bit of numbness down my right leg, which I didn't have before the surgery, but I think it's because the nerves that have been so pressed for so many years are finally coming alive and going, whoa, what are we doing here? And kind of regenerating and figuring out what to do, because even in the last 3 days, the numbness in my leg seems to be getting better too. It's not horrible at all. It's just I can feel there's something different there, especially when I sit. When I'm standing, it doesn't bother me as much. So coming out of surgery, here I'll go back to day 1. And this is going to be my longest video because I have a lot to catch up from this past week, which will probably be the most intense. I came out of surgery and went right up to my room, and I felt great. I had a morphine pump, and so every 10 minutes I could push the little button, and I felt virtually nothing. I mean, I felt fantastic, and I was up talking to my mom, my dad, my husband came in, my little boys came in later that night, and then day 2 was the worst. Day 2, day 3, and that's just my warning to anybody going through this, and it wasn't because of my back, it wasn't because of the surgery, it was because the anesthesia was wearing off, and I was coming off of that morphine. And depending on the person, you may react in different ways. For me, I get very nauseous. I also was dealing with some low blood pressure issues, which I'm still having, and that's, again, not related to the surgery, the back itself. It's just my response to anesthesia, to pain meds, and to recovery. But it hasn't been the end of the world. It's just one of those things I'm dealing with every day. So my blood pressure was low. They wanted me to get up on what day was that? Tuesday. They wanted me to get up later that night, the day of my surgery. They wanted me to get up and try to walk. And so as soon as I sat up, I was with 2 physical therapists. I just got this major head rush and got real sweaty and dizzy and couldn't breathe, and it was just because my blood pressure had dropped so quickly. So they decided to put me back into the bed and just wait until the next day. So Wednesday, day 2, which was December 28th, they wanted to take the catheter out at 6 a.m. My nurse came in, wanted to take it out, and I said, I can't even stand up. There's no way I can get to the bathroom. So they let me keep it in for the day. And as I was able to sit up and kind of do that transition from the morphine to Percocet, I realized Percocet wasn't going to work for me either. I got very nauseous on that. And I said, honestly, I know I do well with the Tylenol 3 with codeine, so maybe that's something I can just try and see if that's enough. It's a lower level pain reliever, but it's a little something. And I wasn't feeling like I was in terrible pain. So by Wednesday afternoon, I started taking the Tylenol 3, and that's my drug of choice, as it turns out. So just through Wednesday and into Thursday, it was a matter of getting rid of that nausea from the anesthesia and trying to eat. I did not eat. I had some pears, like canned pears, and a little bit of cream of wheat and some chicken broth. But I wasn't hungry at all, so it didn't bother me. It's actually been kind of nice. I lost 5 pounds this week, which is great. Thursday I was actually up and able to walk to the bathroom. They took the catheter out on Thursday morning, and that gave me some incentive to try to get up and do some walking, which they really encourage you to do. It did not hurt me to get up and walk. It just felt really weird. Like, you don't have to describe it. So here's your back, and it just kind of felt like there was this like a tower of bricks that was not quite, strong or steady. But it is. It's fused, and they keep telling me it's not going anywhere. If anything, I'll just pull a muscle or, just get some pain, but it's not going to break the fusion or the brackets that are in there. So I was in the hospital for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday they finally let me go home. I had a few complications outside of the incision. The incision was fine, and just going back to that real quick, it was about 4 inches, about that long, and the doctor said he didn't need to go anymore, so he was anticipating about 5.5 inches, but only had to do the 4, which was fantastic. And so he doesn't actually use stitches or staples when he closes up. He does use stitches on the inside layer, but he glues it with the Durabond on the outside, so it was literally just kind of super glued shut and had no bandage or anything. It was just put together, and again, is like, this whole process has just been amazing. I haven't had any issues with it. It hasn't been infected or bleeding. It, of course, is swollen and is a little sore, but I mean, nothing that I would have ever expected. So I just really want this video to be an encouragement to you who are contemplating spinal fusion or any other kind of major back surgery. I just highly recommend you go to a neurosurgeon. I know orthopedic doctors do these surgeries all the time, and I'm sure they're fine doing it, but they specialize in muscle and bone. Neurosurgeons are concerned with those things, but have the knowledge of the nerves that are going to make or break the long-term success of this. So check them out. If you have neurosurgeons in your area, call them, tell them the pain you're having, and maybe they can get you in for a consultation, talk about some of the options. I did not get a disc replacement because I'm too young. I'm 35, and my neurosurgeon said there's just no proof that the replacement discs have any real longevity or durability for somebody my age. So the chance of having to go through another procedure in the future is pretty strong. Also, the disc that I had was too degenerated. You need to have at least 50% of your original disc for them to consider a replacement. So that wasn't an option for me. Fusion was the only option. And I'm really, at this point, 1 week post-op, really glad that I've made this decision. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything else other than some roommate issues in the hospital. I think the hardest part of the whole thing in the hospital was just dealing with, the snoring roommate and the roommate who had the TV blasting and turned the lights on at all hours of the night, and just that kind of thing. So if you can get a hospital where you can get a private room, that's fantastic. My experience would have been 1,000 times different with that, but it had nothing to do with the operation itself. I had great nurses and great staff, and they really took care of me. The physical therapists came in right away, taught me real basic stuff. Here's the basics, in case you haven't heard this. When you get out of bed, of course, you can't sit up. You have to roll out. So they call that the log roll, and it's just very simple. You lay on your side, push up, you get your legs down in front of you straight, and then let them kind of drop over the edge of the bed as you push up, and that's the best way to get up after a surgery like this. And now I'm a pro at it, so that's nothing. And then there's a little acronym they use. It's called BLTs, like the sandwich, but it stands for no bending, no lifting, no twisting, no stretching. And that's just, I can't reach to turn off a light or reach to grab something out of a cabinet right now. I have to wait until I'm fused and doing better. And I have my, oh, I don't have it. Oh yeah, I do have it right here. I have my handy dandy grabber, which I had to use last night. See, it's little, I just like that, and then it's amazing actually. They're pretty big prongs there, but I was able to pick up the world's tiniest pill that I dropped on the bathroom floor last night after my husband went to bed, so I didn't have to wake him up. And my kids have been great. They've been really helpful, and my older son, who's 9, likes to make tea and bring it to me, and they understand they have to be careful. Actually, you can't see, there's a sign right here on the outside of my door that says low energy zone, please. That's intended for my 4-year-old because he's got a lot of energy and he comes in here excited to see me, so that's his little warning, although he can't read, so I'm not sure why we have that. It's funny. I'm staying in our guest room here on the first floor because I still have access to the family functioning every day. I can hear the kids in the kitchen, and sometimes, you know, when I'm trying to sleep, it's not so great, but I have a white noise machine that I put in here, so I can turn that on. And I have, let's see here. See, now here's why I shouldn't be stretching. So this is my little recovery suite. You can see I have my bathroom is back right here, and then my bed, and then I have, my husband was so sweet. He got me for Christmas that little TV up on the top of the stand there, and a Wi-Fi box that allows me to get Hulu Plus and Netflix, so I can lay in my bed and watch all my TV shows and movies and stuff. So it's been good to be home. I didn't like staying in the hospital that long. I was in there for 4 days, like I said, and I should have only been there for 3. I was having with the blood pressure issues. I mean, the one night my blood pressure was only 70 over 42, and that was kind of like, it wasn't going much higher than 90 over 60. So they didn't really want to send me home without me being able to get up and walk. And I also was just having like some chest pain through my sternum, so they were worried about blood clots, so they sent me for a CT scan Thursday night. That came back negative. Friday morning they sent me for an abdominal ultrasound because I said it was more like in here, and that too came back negative. I think it was just from laying flat on that table for 2 hours, and I was told that there was a chance I could feel soreness in other parts of my body, so I think that's what it was. Oh, and Thursday morning I decided to try to get breakfast, and I ordered scrambled eggs and tater tots and an English muffin, and when it came up to my room, I guess it was around 9 o'clock, got the tray out, I was all excited to eat. I hadn't eaten anything since Monday night, and when I opened that the plate of scrambled eggs, I got so sick and I just started vomiting, and I think from sitting up that also put some strain on my chest and abdomen. So I think they were just trying to be precautious before sending me out and make sure I didn't have any kind of clotting or other issues that they didn't know about. I'm just trying to think if there was anything else. Yeah, I mean, it was just, the hospital part was the worst, and it wasn't because of the surgery, it was just because of all the monitoring they have to do, and you have your IV drip in, so you're hooked up to this IV with your little pole, and then, of course, the catheter, the first day or two, you're sleeping with a catheter, and it's handy. I mean, it was so convenient to not have to worry about getting up and going to the bathroom, but after a while, you want to get that thing out. And they were monitoring my heart function because they thought I had this clot. So I had, like, in my gown, my hospital gown, there's a little pocket here, and they had this box. I have a picture of that. So I'll do another video that has just kind of a slideshow of the pictures that I took. But it's this box that has like 10 wires coming out of it, and then I had patches all over me monitoring my heart function that was remotely being sent to the nurse's station. So Tuesday night they put that on me, and I had that on till Friday, and it was just this huge pain because I felt like I had, 5 pounds of electronics hanging off my front the whole time I was trying to like learn to walk again. So that was just some of the stinky part of it. But again, it wasn't the end of the world. So things have been going great. I'm really happy that I did this. Again, I'm 1 week out right now, and I feel every day, honest to God, is like every day you feel better. I feel like I could go do my laundry right now, but I know I can't because I just can't physically be pushing it, and that's the biggest challenge I'm going to have. I'm a doer, and I'm a mom, and I'm used to doing all this stuff around the house, so I have a month here that I have to just take it easy and let other people pick up the slack, which I should be happy about, and I am happy about, but it's a really hard adjustment to make. And I've had a lot of friends come and visit, which has been great, and I have some nice projects that I'd like to get caught up on, like some of my photography. I'd like to make some photo books and get some of my videos saved onto DVDs, and just little things like that that will take up my time so I'm not watching Netflix all day long. I have friends who have bought, I think I have 6 books here that my friends brought me over the last 2 days. So every day I have, a new set of visitors and some new treats, and that's been really nice. So I'm just really appreciative of all my friends and family who have been making this so easy for us to get through. And I have my follow-up appointment with Dr. Lee February 3rd, and at that point he will determine if he's ready to release me to the real world again and how the fusion is taking place. I guess he'll do a couple x-rays and see how things are growing in there. And I think at that point I'll be able to drive again. I am assuming it's going to be a month until I drive again. But that's okay. It's January, there's not much going on anyway. That's why I picked this time of year. My husband's a teacher, so he has had the last week off during the surgery and recovery in the hospital. And then this week he was supposed to go back to school, but he took some family time, so he's able to be home with me. So this has been so far so good. And if any of you have questions about, spinal stenosis, disc degeneration, laminectomies, fusion, any questions that you have, feel free to email me, and I would love to be a support. I've had a couple other people that I watched over the last year and their progress after their fusions, and it's been so helpful to have that, just somebody who's been through it and can, kind of help get me through it. And I hope to keep these videos going maybe once every week with an update or if something exciting happens. Oh, here's an exciting thing. Last night, my husband's upstairs in the bedroom that we usually stay in, and the kids are upstairs, so I'm the only one downstairs. And we have this call system, so if I would need him in the night, I just call his cell phone, and he was going to keep it next to him on the nightstand. Well, last night I woke up at 4 in the morning to go to the bathroom, which I've been waking up like once a night to go to the bathroom, and then I go right back to sleep. I went in, and when I went to stand up, my blood pressure dropped again, and it was the worst that it's been since the hospital. I felt immediately nauseous, like I was going to throw up. I started getting the cold sweats again. My ears were ringing, and I felt like I was going to fall over. My heart was racing. It was a horrible feeling. Low blood pressure is just such a bad feeling. And so I tried to walk from just right there in the door to the bed, and I started wobbling. I thought I was going to fall, so I turned around and went and sat back down on the toilet seat, and I was fanning myself and taking deep breaths and just hoping it would go away. And it did eventually, but I was still not right, and my body temperature actually dropped. Oh, I've had a low-grade fever of 99.5 to 99.9, and my nurse today, I called, and she said that's pretty normal after surgery like this. Your body's just trying to make sure, there's nothing going on. So after I got settled, I tried to call my husband, and he didn't have the phone up there. He had it on the charger in the kitchen. So I was feeling a little alone last night and a little scared, but it did pass as I laid there for a while. I was just glad I was able to make it back to the bed. And a couple of my friends who are medical professionals, have been giving me advice about just make sure I get up, get my blood pressure going. I should eat things that are high in protein, high carbs, and just try to really keep that blood pressure up as much as I can on a consistent basis so that kind of thing doesn't happen again. I just have to learn to take it easy. I woke up at 4, sat up, hopped out of bed, and thought it was totally normal to go to the bathroom, but I'm only a week out, so I gotta just take it easy. But, alright, I'm going on 30 minutes. That's a long time. I promise the next ones won't be that long. I just wanted to get caught up here. So, again, any questions, let me know. I hope you're all pain-free soon. Thanks.